All right, we are live. Hello, I'm Matt Peterson.
And I'm Bill Simone. Welcome to the 2022 Historical Board Game Awards presentation.
Yeah, this is exciting. This has been a few months in the making, and Bill and I have been working hard, and we've had great assistance from our voting committee. But the night is finally here, and so tonight we are introducing and announcing the 2022 Historical Board Game Awards. Bill, why don't I don't know if you want to just introduce how we got started on this journey, or if you want to start with, or I can start with what the idea behind the awards was.
Well, hey, I'll let you get into the further background. All I know is on October 1st, you approached me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in helping out with this idea that I've got?" And it's rolled on from there.
Yeah,
So, why don't you tell the folks what and why?
yeah. So Bill said about 6 months ago, almost to the date, reached out to Bill, and I think we both pretty quickly identified that we wanted to come up with our own award with as much transparency as we could have that recognized not only war games, but the intent from the get-go was to be representative of the historical board gaming hobby as a whole. So we wanted to err on the side of being more inclusive than exclusive. And so the Historical Board Game Awards are an annual award going forward that recognize historical, war, and conflict simulation board games in our three award categories, which we'll of course discuss in a little bit.
So, how's the voting process work?
Yeah, so it's a little mathy, I guess, but it's relatively straightforward. We have a voting committee, group of wonderful individuals. We'll share them here, of course, that submitted games at over. We reached out in February, so they had 1 month. We let them know you have your ballot. It'll be due. Submit your ballots, and that committee vote was ranked using ranked choice voting, and then that accounted for 90% of the overall score for each of the categories. We then submitted a fan ballot, and the fan votes accounted for 10% of the remaining score. So a little like the Heisman, but we're not trying to be the Heisman either.
No, not quite as prestigious yet.
That's right.
But for folks who don't know how that voting system works, you choose three: a first, second, and third place, a winner on your ballot. The one that was voted first place gets 3 points, second place 2 points, and third place 1 point. And those just get totaled up. As Matt said, the fan vote was 10% of the total, and so. And that will be the end result of what we're going to show you here in just a couple of minutes. One of the big questions you have when it comes to award years and award presentations is what is eligible? So for us, it was any 2022 release. It had to be substantially out to the public by then, not just a Kickstarter fulfillment without it being in public retail yet. New editions of old games have to have had significant changes. Straight reprints or just maybe visual tweaks weren't enough to get their eligibility back. It has to have some sort of historical topic, although we cast a very wide net when it comes to that. And then expansions are not eligible unless they're in and of themselves a standalone game.
Yeah, and I think we, from the get go, not as an indication of how anyone should vote, but we were just very clear on some examples that walk the line. And so something like Pacific War and Vietnam 1965 to 1975, where it's rather clear it's a straight reprint, or the designers themselves have come out and said, this is a straight reprint of an older design. Those were two very popular games from 2022, and they were excluded from the ballot this year. Okay. Well, with that out of the way and what we were trying to award, let's get into it. So first up, we have the Anglo-Zanzibar Award. And this was the one award we wanted to have a little fun with the title in, but the Anglo-Zanzibar War lasted no longer than 45 minutes and is considered the shortest recorded war in history. So our Anglo-Zanzibar Award recognizes the best small historical board game. That includes magazine games, lunchtime games, quick playing games, folio games, postcard games, and really any other kind of small format game.
Okay, so the nominees for the Anglo-Zanzibar Award are 1815, Scum of the Earth, designed by Tristan Hall, publisher Hall or Nothing Productions. Caesar, Seize Rome in 20 Minutes, designed by Paolo Mori from PSC Games. Flashpoint, South China Sea, designed by Harold Buchanan, published by GMT Games. Resist, designed by David Thompson, Roger Tankersley, and Trevor Benjamin, and produced by Salt and Pepper Games. Saladin, designed by Denis Savage from Shakos. And finally, Twilight Struggle, Red Sea, Conflict in the Horn of Africa, designed by Jason Matthews and published by GMT Games.
Great. Thank you, Bill. So, the winner of the 2022 Anglo-Zanzibar Award is Twilight Struggle, Red Sea, Conflict in the Horn of Africa. Jason Matthews, GMT Games. All right. Let's move on to
we just had an Oscar moment.
No, we didn't. No,
yes, we did.
Stop. Oh no. Correct me. What did I mess up? That was 100% on me.
The winner is Flashpoint, South China Sea.
Oh my
Harold Buchanan and GMT Games.
To Jason and Harold both, I am so sorry into GMT.
That's why Bill's here. There was going to be a La La Land moment.
Oh my gosh, no Atlanta. Well, that's why Bill's here. Jeez Louise.
Oh.
All right,
we'll
burn it
get
all
back
down and start over. Okay, we're back on track, and we're talking most innovative game.
Yes. So the most innovative game design is awarded to a game and design team to recognize the excellence in creative and innovative game design. And innovative is very personal, so it was really interesting to see what the community of both the known people we have and then all the fans out there thought were innovative.
Okay, so the finalists, and double checking this, are Flashpoint, South China Sea, Harold Buchanan, GMT Games. John Company, second edition, Cole Worley, Whirligig Games. Lanzareth Ridge, David Thompson, Dan Verson Games. Resist, David Thompson, Roger Tankersley, and Trevor Benjamin, Salt and Pepper Games. The Chase of the Bismarck, Operation Runenbung, 1941, Jack Green and Patrick Gebhardt, VUCA Simulations. Undaunted, Stalingrad, David Thompson and Trevor Benjamin, Osprey Games. Zermatt, Tim Densham, Catastrophe Games.
Okay. And the winner is, for most innovative game design, John Company, second edition, Cole Worley from Whirligig Games.
Outstanding.
Excellent.
All right. Let's move to the Game of the Year. So, Game of the Year really awards outstanding performance in all board game fields and recognizes the game that delivers the best historical war or conflict board game experience from the previous year.
Okay. The finalists are A Most Fearful Sacrifice, The 3 Days of Gettysburg, designed by Herman Lettman from Flying Pig Games. Almoravid, Reconquista and Riposte in Spain, 1085 to 1086, Volko Runke, GMT Games. Ericor, designed by Dean Essig and Carl Fung from Multiman Publishing. John Company, second edition, Cole Worley, Whirligig Games. Lanzareth Ridge, David Thompson, Dan Verson Games. Point Blank, V is for Victory, designed by Sean Drulinger and published by Lock and Load Publishing. And finally, Salerno 43, designed by Mark Simonich, GMT Games.
And the winner of the 2022 Historical Board Game Awards Game of the Year is John Company, second edition, Cole Worley, Whirligig Games.
Oh, that's great. Congratulations to all the nominees, finalists, and the 3 winners. We need a award for most nominated or the most prolific designer. I
Yeah,
do
no
believe
joke.
we had David Thompson mentioned about 17 times in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think that one would have been clear. But congrats to John Company, which really just made an. I mean, to everyone, as you said, to all the finalists and every nominee that received votes from the voting committee. Again, I apologize about the Anglo-Zanzibar, but well, if you listen to History on the Table, you, you know what you were getting. But great. So thank you for everyone, especially our voting committee, to help make this year fantastic. If you're watching this live, stick around. We'll answer any questions. We're going to run through just a transparency report, give some stats, maybe our thoughts on the games if we want to. But if you have questions, let us know. If you're watching this on a later date, leave us a comment below or anything like that. But thank you for watching, and yeah, thanks for checking it out.
Yes, thank you very much. So going over to that transparency report, one of the things that was important to us is that it was clear to anybody who wanted to see how the innards worked on this, can look back and see what actually happened. So we were able to, one of the things we set out to do from the very beginning was to make sure that all of our voting committee members were clearly disclosed and named. You saw all of them there at the beginning. They're out at the awards webpage, which you can find at historyontheTable.com. We asked during the balloting process if they had been paid for any work with any publishers, whether they had done any consulting or anything like that. And if they did, they were going to be asked to recuse themselves from voting on any game that they worked on. And we had one case of that where the designer is on the committee, and he did not vote for any of for his game that he worked on, which is exactly what we wanted to see. And we're very happy to have that ethics and transparency out there. We will be releasing the vote spreadsheet publicly on the History on the Table website. It'll be out there. I'm not sure if it'll be out there this evening, but it will be out there shortly. And so everybody can take a look and see all the different games that got nominated and to what degree.
Yeah,
how about some statistics, Matt?
Yeah, before we get to the statistics, I do just want to add, not only was there designers on the voting committee that, our voting committee was made up of select individuals that have some kind of media presence, right? It's not just someone who's a big fan of war games or historical games or anything like that. They have to have a blog, a podcast, a YouTube channel, you name it. And so there is crossover, obviously, and then there's also crossover with employees or contractors of game publishers. And we even had instances of those that they weren't straight designers, and still there was no, all of the votes were disclosed. There was no crossover. So thank you for our voting committee members for complying with that. And it just made for a very easy vote process. All right, now the fun stuff, the statistics. And so while I was rapidly scrambling to see where I screwed up on the Anglo-Zanzibar Award. So it's interesting, and I was going to save this last little tidbit for last, but you might ask yourself, well, 10%, why does that even matter in a vote like this? And it did matter. It mattered quite a bit in all the categories. And I think my tie-up in the Anglo-Zanzibar is Flashpoint won the fan vote, if I recall correctly. No, Twilight Struggle won the fan vote, and that's why this slide is wrong. So Twilight Struggle won the fan vote. Flashpoint South China Sea won the overall award. So my sincerest apologies on that. Maybe we'll just switch back to a backslide, and then we won't look at that.
So hey, first, we know that the game of the year was John Company.
Yep.
Second place was A Most Fearful Sacrifice, and third place was Almoravid. So, and then maybe we want to flip over then, Matt, to the innovation. So John Company won here, of course. Undaunted Stalingrad was our second place winner, and Flashpoint South China Sea came in third on this particular category. And then for the Anglo-Zanzibar Award, won by Flashpoint South China Sea. Second place was Twilight Struggle, Red Horn. I'm sorry, Red Sea. And then third place was Resist.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, my statistics were 100% based off the fan vote just for these slides. The slides were a late edition, but we'll move on past that. Let's talk a little bit more fun. So I'm really happy. I think Bill and I both noticed right away just how the awards are a representation of what the historical board gaming hobby looks like in 2022 and 2023. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of diversity in the amount of publishers and where the publishers are coming from. So if you look at just our finalists, we had 20 total finalists across the 3 categories. There were 13 different publishers. If you were to look at all the nominees for Game of the Year, there were 15 different publishers just in the Game of the Year category. And then as far as games that received even voting committee votes, there were 25 games that received a vote for Game of the Year. So among our committee members, and the goal was to get a wide range of committee members. So it's not just myself and Rich, it's this diverse group of people from all over the world. And that I think came through with just the publishers and the types of games published.
Yeah, it was really nice to see. Many of us come to this from the Hex Encounter war game area, but it's really been fun to see the innovation and the different options that are out there for people who are interested in history. That's a big part of what keeps me in this hobby is pairing it up with reading and learning that goes with it. And there's just been a heck of a lot of options for that over the past few years.
Yeah, and then if you take another look at it, just the diversity in design, right? We have great new and upcoming designers that I heard of for the first year. I know you made the joke and we heard David Thompson's name a whole heck of a lot, but we had over 20 finalists, we had 18 designers across the 20 finalists. So a great group of designers represented from covering all different types of games.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, but for 2023 and beyond, I think we're also open and looking for more diverse folks to join us on the voting committee. First off, we hope everybody that helped us in 2022 continues with us going forward. I think we'd like to get more international participation in there. I think we did pretty good. I mean, we have Australia represented. We have a few folks in Europe here.
Spain, Poland.
Yeah. So it was a good start for year one, and just a couple of jamokes trying to find some folks to help us out, but always room for more. And like Matt said, looking for folks that have some sort of media presence and that are actively playing newly released games.
Yep. The reason for having that criteria in place why isn't so-and-so on this list is as part of this transparency, everyone gets different value out of award shows, whether you watch the Oscars or anything like that, right? This allows you to go and look at these people's opinions and the type of content they put out and see, wow, Matt screws up, but maybe I care about what he has to say about a game. So it allows you to evaluate what you can get out of these awards because you can see the people that are voting for these awards. And then the fan vote is just to get everyone involved because that's who plays the games.
Yeah. And as you mentioned with the fan vote, it changed in one case, the winner of a category. In other cases, it changed the ordering of the final ballot. So within the top 3. So it's had a lot of impact there.
It certainly did. And we had a great turnout for the first year. That also goes to the voting committee. Just again, the turnaround time from us coming up with this concept and them getting their votes in was really appreciated. The great news is now we have a year of lead time, right? Everyone has this on their agenda. Every game that I'm playing that's a new release from January 1 onward is in the back of my mind and going on a list of this needs to be in your 2023 consideration if it otherwise qualifies. So great. We'll open the floor to any questions. If there are none, we can wrap it up. But
well, I'll ask a question because
yeah.
I know we got asked it several times by people on the voting committee. Hey, do you have a list of games that were published in 2022? And the answer was, boy, that's hard to come up with. I've started keeping a list for 2023. Shamelessly cribbing from the Armchair Dragoons. Brant puts out every Tuesday on his blog what he sees as the games coming out. So that's one input. Just trying to keep up to date with what's been published via newsletters and publisher press releases and whatever. So we think we're getting it this year, but that's a tough one. Definitely a tough one. You can't trust the database in Board Game Geek.
No.
Just because, especially over the past couple of years, with games having been delayed so much due to the pandemic and then the supply chain disruptions afterwards, is I guess it's a starting place to look, but oftentimes it requires a lot more digging than that.
Absolutely. The other question we got a good amount was, what's a historical game? And we intentionally don't define historical game anywhere as a guideline, though. An eligible historical game would be a game that, or it would include games that engage a historical theme or topic or interest in a meaningful or serious manner, or somehow simulate or depict a period of history beyond the level of a pasted-on theme. You know, if you peek at those shelves behind me, there's lots of Euros back there that have a historical theme, but they're not
historical board games.
No. So
yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh, Bill, I want to thank you too while we're doing this, because as we saw with the slides, I could not do this alone. So, I can't believe I did that.
Hey, I'm glad to have been able to help out this year, and I appreciate you having reached out to me to join. But if it can happen to the Oscars, which has got the public accounting firm there making sure things go right, it can happen to a couple folks that are doing this out of their offices, right? So
yes, I will forever in a lot of different ways be, people can look at Steve Harvey with Miss Universe before my blunder is ever considered. I mean, because that's just like so personal, at least Harold and Jason aren't sitting on my couch behind me, and I made the blunder at least, so we got that going for us. Well, great.
Well.
I had a lot of fun with this process this year. I'm looking forward to the continued growth and new stuff, and us learning. I've got a face made for podcasting, and so this was an experience too. So
yeah, there's a reason why I stay behind the scenes on things and don't live stream or have a YouTube channel.
All right, I got to get one commercial out of the way, because if you want to come talk to Bill and I about the Historical Board Game Awards, or heckle us, or just have a drink, or play some games with us, you should come to Kansas City this August 17th through the 20th. Historic Fest Kansas City, 4 days of historical board gaming in Kansas City.
Best mid-size convention there is that happens in August.
Thank you. I'll take it. I will take it.
I'm going to Buckeye Game Fest in a couple of weeks. I gotta keep that open too.
When my kids are a little bit older, that's got to be a stop for me. But yeah, lots of great conventions out there, lots of great games. Go play them, go enjoy them. And if you're watching this later, drop a comment below with your favorite game for 2022. All right, folks, enjoy your weekend.
Thanks all.